Okay.
and I was judged for my weight. I was a little chubby child, and just in general, when chefs eat, it's the most awful thing because they don't like even when I was in school and in culinary school and all of that, you'd think that chefs would get together and eat this amazing food. But like I feel like self love and and really looking at yourself with compassion and empathy is a daily job. I don't care what you say.
Are you serious?
I was more like
You're like, keep your opinion to yourself. So thank you so much, Pooja, for finding time for India Podcast. It's a real pleasure to have you with us.
thank you so much for having me.
Pooja, my whole series that is about women beyond the judgment, that's the main purpose that we are doing this whole series. We're trying to know the success of stories of women who have grown beyond judgment. Every day we go through different levels of our judgment. Everyone has different perspective. For you, your journey has been quite interesting. You're the macaroon girl, if I can say so. So, how did the macaroon girl encounter her first judgment? Was it when she became a chef or a baker or a I like macaroon
Are
day?
we talking about judgment only in the professional field, or are we talking about judgment since we were small? Because I think I have
I
met.
think the first of your moment when you got judged. What was that?
Oh, I think the first moment, if I have to think back, would definitely be when I was a child
Okay.
and I was judged for my weight. I was a little chubby child, and I have Punjabi relatives, and everyone would always see me and say the one thing that everyone always would comment on would be my appearance and my weight, and say things to me like, "You have, if you don't lose weight, no one will marry you." Etc etc so I think those are the first like initial like just physical comments were like the biggest judgments for me.
But does it go in a reverse psychology when someone does that to you? You start aversing and aversing yourself from food. You don't want to eat food. You don't want to go there because so much of it has been told to you. So did it go through you? You did not develop like मुझे खाना नहीं खाना है अब सब इतना टोकते हैं.
No, not really. I didn't, because for me it was like I don't care what you say.
Are you serious?
I was more like
You're like keep your opinion to yourself.
yeah, it was very hurtful in the beginning, and then it just became very defensive, and I was like, I'm not, like, how is it bothering you, that kind of energy. And then slowly you start realizing, and I mean, these are things that we carry with us. I mean, till today, like we hold on to so many of these traumas as they become, especially when they happen to you when you're really young.
But what became your support? Was it your parent? Was it your friends? Was it your own inner self? You're always a confident child who knew how to deal with judgment and people comments.
I think I think it built confidence. It built sort of it sort of built that protection around myself to be like, okay, that I don't really believe in that. And I think for me it was more of a it was great because it kind of made me realize that appearances don't matter. So it's always what is inside somebody and what is inside something. And then once you start looking at like the outer frivolous things don't matter, it kind of makes you in some ways have better deeper connections with people, because you're not about just the superficial things. So I think that's what.
But trust me, it takes a lot because even now we see the generation struggling. It takes someone some kind of a push. कोई तो होता है जो guide करता है या when that moment happens.
I mean, and I think it doesn't change overnight. It's a long process that I still sometimes feel like I'm working through them, right? Like all these years later, I still feel like it's a daily practice of like I feel like self love and and really looking at yourself with compassion and empathy is a daily job, because it's so easy to just listen to what somebody else has to say and then kind of forget
what gives you can hear me, right?
Sorry, you went blank there for a minute.
Yeah. But coming to your
I can
journey,
hear you.
you went to study law and then you thought management and then you realized नहीं अब तो मैं जाके कुछ अपने
Yeah.
passion का करती हूँ. तो why the shift of mind? Like law क्यों गए? मेरे को पहले ये जानना है, आप law पढ़ने क्यों गए थे?
I don't know. I was watching a lot of Lost.
Are
Like
you serious? You
I
can't
was,
say this to me.
I was watching a lot of TV shows that had a lot of lawyers that looked really cool. No, I mean, growing up for me, look, things are very different now, right? We have mainstream chefs and
Yeah.
entrepreneurs and chefs, but when I was growing up,
It was
there
nothing.
was
It
nothing.
was like हर घर में brownie बना के birthday पे दे दो friend को.
Yeah, but there was not even like it wasn't even a viable career option
Yes,
for
totally.
women to work in a kitchen or women
It
to
was not looked up to. It was like,
I didn't even know anyone who was doing it. So I didn't even see, like, it wasn't even something that was in my periphery. So I knew that I enjoyed baking. I knew that, like I did it a lot, but I didn't know that this could become a career. So I thought, and then for us, it's like you have your basics in front of you, like lawyer, doctor, so I couldn't become. I wasn't. So I was like, okay, let's just try my hand at law. And I went to law school, and within 2 weeks, I think that way, the one thing I'm really good at is my instinct and my gut. So I'm like, okay, something's not right. And
see, you're wearing a black coat even today, huh? So that black coat and this black coat, you just shifted. You're still holding on to that black color for that reason.
No one's ever told me that. That's a different shift in perspective. Yeah.
And after 2 weeks, you realize, नहीं ये तो नहीं करना है, मुझे झगड़ा नहीं करना है कोर्ट में.
करना ही नहीं है. Like it was like this is not for me. The books, I was like I can't study. Like right now I want to do things with my hands. I want to be creative. I love hotels. I wanted to open a cafe. I'm a
Wow.
creative person. So
Then opening a cafe, that thought is also very risk taking.
yeah, but वो था अभी. So then I went and told my parents, and I was like, I want to do this, and like I'm very lucky with at least my my immediate family, and then they said, ठीक है, you want to do this, that's fine, but yeah, they said you want to do this, that's fine, but you have to study it because education is important. So you can't just randomly go and say I want to study it. So wait, I
There's
think there's
some
a little bit of a
disturbance you're
lag. I
feeling,
don't
or
know
even I'm feeling. Yeah, internet, no? I just felt it was bad.
I'm feeling you're getting
stuck. I'm getting stuck.
bad. You're getting.
Yeah, I don't know. I can see the network quite full here. If I'm able to see you move now. Then coming to the management days, then what happened?
No, I mean I went from law to hotel management.
Oh, that was hotel management.
Yeah, it was hotel management because they told me you have to study it. And then for me, my life changed, when I was 17 and a half, 18, and I went to study in Switzerland. And I think it was the greatest opportunity and the biggest privilege that I had to do that. And I feel so lucky because, when you grow up in India and you grow up in a certain society and you're always told things in a certain way that you can or cannot do. I still, speaking of judgments, like I remember when my parents told one of our extended family members that they're sending me to Switzerland to study. And of course, it's an expensive education, right? So the first thing that family member told him was like, "Kyun bhej rahe ho?" Like, like why are you sending your daughter? Like, she's going to come back and get married only. So why are you wasting your money? And I just, I was just so angry. Almost like I feel like my initial years, I just felt like I had something to prove. Going back to that, maybe that happened with the weight, but it happened with this.
Like every time somebody is coming and obstructing my life for no reason.
Yeah, and I mean, I was like, what do you mean? Like, why would you spend this money on your daughter? And thankfully, my parents, they were like, we treat our son and daughter the same, and if he gets so I went and the same thing. And it's not only that, even in Switzerland, when I would meet, there were a few Indian guys in our class, and they were just like, oh, you're just gonna go back and get married. And I was like,
oh my God,
what is this like old thought that you guys are all carrying, and is this what you think girls will do? And even if I have to go back and get married, I can still work.
You can do what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, someone has to change this sort of narrative that we kind of live. So I finished my hotel school, and then obviously I knew that pastry had my heart. So I moved to Paris, and then I came back. I was about 22.
Yeah, early age thing. No, by 22, I didn't even realize karna kya hai.
In fact, sometimes I'm jealous of 22-year-old Pooja because I feel like she was more like determined and
Yeah.
what she wanted and wasn't
Most of
afraid.
the students you find like कौन से cafe में जाए क्या खाने जाए so
Yeah.
you are serving those teenagers and youngsters when you were working hard. Certainly that worked in your favor, but I want to know there's also perspective to when we say chef in India even today, we don't understand. When we say baker, we still don't understand. Chef has been overvalued. Baker has been considered something as like a home baker thing. How do you look at how difficult was it for you to define the term baker, and what do you call yourself? You call yourself a chef or a baker or what?
So I call myself a pastry chef and entrepreneur. I studied patisserie, so when I came back, I still remember I was 22 and I had a BlackBerry at that time, and you could put your profession on your BlackBerry when you closed your
Oh
screen.
wow.
I wrote pastry chef, and I was like, I don't know, I didn't know any pastry chefs like in
There
my.
was no term as such
I
known
didn't
so
know,
much like
I didn't know anybody who was a pastry chef in my circles and my friends. And I remember I always thought it was so cool because every time I would go anywhere, they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a pastry chef." And
and
yeah, so
what does that mean? They would ask you that.
no, I guess everybody understands it, right?
Okay.
It's like the French word pâtissier and pastry chef. I mean, it's quite clear. So yeah, that's what I call myself.
But how was it to work in the industry? Even though we know women grow up more in kitchen, quite natural for girls to always be having that excitement about cooking and making stuff. But it has become somewhere male dominated when it comes to industry or entrepreneur world. Did you find yourself find a niche or a place there difficult as a woman entrepreneur in the chef world? Because the leading names quite are the male names.
So for me, I'd never really worked in any other kitchen in India, to be honest.
Okay.
Worked in a kitchen in France. It was a chocolate shop, and there was me and six other ladies. So it was an all girl team
Girl
practice.
team, yeah.
And then I moved back, and then and honestly, it wasn't like I didn't want to. I just didn't have the right opportunities because there were no standalone restaurants, or
Okay.
pastry wasn't considered to be a special art, or like
True.
So this was say 14 years ago. So I was just like, what do I do? I tried to apply to restaurants, cafes, five-star hotels, but nobody was like
Nobody would immediately hire.
nobody could immediately hire me. And then I was like, okay, at some point I was like, I have to figure out this return on investment that my parents have spent on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've spent all this on my education. I have to figure out a way in which I can sort of justify it and sort of pay it back. So for me, it was like, okay, I see that I think I was at the right place at the right time. And yeah, I just set up a small kitchen, like a small sort of. I started working from my parents' home kitchen, and then 3 months later, both of them were like, "You need to find your own space." I think the good thing is that my dad has always been very encouraging, and in
Mm.
fact, both of them, my parents have a belief in me greater than I have in myself. So they
Wow.
would always be like, "What are you doing at home? Let's get you a kitchen space." They got me a really like 500 square feet kitchen space.
Wow.
They set it up for me, and then they said, "Okay, now on your own, you have to figure out how to run this by yourself." So yeah, I've been financially independent for 13 years. I think that it's been a great feeling kind of trying to learn, swim, drown, figure out how to do this, how to run a
But
team.
before I get into how macaroons became the thing that you really brought to Indian taste, it's very difficult. I had it once in Paris, I think. That time my friends would tell me macaroons. I was like, what is this fancy thing people are talking about?
Yeah.
So before I get there, I want to know as an entrepreneur, when you started, even today, there's so many girls who are doing pastry chef courses and all. Doing a business in that is a challenge even today. You think you just had that acumen, business acumen in you that worked for you? What could have worked, Pooja? Because I tell you, even if they have done the best of the things or the same path you walked, it is not possible to open up your own business. What
I mean,
worked for you?
I think so many things. I think it's difficult to pinpoint and say what worked and what didn't. And I mean, the challenges have been far
Enormous.
and many, right? Like, it's not that it ever ends. I think for me, it's not like I was born with some special business acumen. In fact, I learn things every single day. Like, even today, um, for the first, it's been 13 years and I finally learned what a sales pipeline looks like. So I think it's been an interesting journey. So I think for me it's always been about trial and error, making many mistakes, failing, learning from my failures. Not in the beginning, I was all like, oh, I'm going to be this creative person and only focus on like the
Yeah, we go very like personal about a creative
uh,
thing.
and then I realized that I got, slapped around and I got taken advantage of in the business. And I was like, okay, this I have to change. And it was like a forced change of mindset. It wasn't like I was born that way or I was thinking that manner. I had circumstances made
True.
me become that. So I feel like for me, I've always been a student and I love learning. And I look at every opportunity as what can I learn from this? So in the last 13 years, I mean, there have been so many difficulties, but there's also been so many learnings. And yesterday, just 2 days back, I was feeling like, oh my God, like, I mean, our business has really grown. We went from a team
Yes.
80 to 100. Now we have a pan India presence. We're like doing our second round of fundraise. So it's really big right now from when it started. And I was just like really panicking because I was like, oh my God, I have to do this and this and this. And I'm not giving enough time. And I just stopped myself and I said, the amount of things I have learned in the last decade. And I was like, just think of what in the next 10 years, the amount of things that you will know and what kind of an organization you can run in 10 years.
Wow.
And to me, that was like, okay, it's difficult, but you can do this. So I,
Unknowingly, you've not realized it maybe, but you have become a businesswoman. The
yeah.
profession you worked in, if someone asks you क्या बन रही है बेटी, तो उनको बोलना चाहिए था हमारी बेटी businessman woman है.
Yeah.
Whether you're working as a pastry chef, it's no more a pastry chef. It's like an entrepreneur, right?
It's true. I mean, I spend maybe
You are running a show, dude. It's not about your taste anymore alone. But one thing I want to know, as you were walking through this journey, macaroons, was it your personal choice? खुद का पसंदीदा चीज है कि you thought I will sell what people don't know. It's a unique thing to India में this will work.
It was actually a combination of things. It
Hmm.
was me tasting my first macaron in Paris, which was passion fruit and chocolate, and being
Which
complete
one was the first flavor you tasted?
passion fruit and milk
Okay.
chocolate. Yeah,
Wow.
it was great. And I was just like, what is this thing? And I was like, why have I not seen this before? Like, why is it that I don't know what this dessert is? And then my father was visiting me in France, and my dad is extremely picky and very like he's very fussy. So I took him and I made him try it, and he liked it. So I said, okay, but I like it and he likes it. If he likes it, that means I've got mass approval. If he likes something, then everyone will like it.
True.
And then I said, okay, I'm going to come back and do this.
But till then, was it difficult to bring this taste to India? Because India, maybe we are used to that biscuit ke andar cream. That is only something people,
It
the
was
Indian idea of everything is Indian.
no, it was difficult in the sense because you had to
It was a
educate.
niche thing. It was a rich people thing. Was it like that? I mean, school mein hota hai, macaroons khaya. You're like, okay, is it cheap? Do I need to pay a buck for that? Like, how did you find it dealing with all this?
I mean, so I came back firstly to get the recipe right. Took me forever. It took a long time, a lot of like wastage, a lot of like, oh my God, this is never going to work to finally
Okay.
get it working. And then I just, I was like 22, 23. I said, I'm going to make sure that this is I'm just going to make sure I can take this everywhere. So I
Wow.
would take like stalls in malls. I remember my first stall in Mega Mall in Andheri. Like me and a friend, we got this stall. Someone, we paid some 5,000 or something. We got one thing and we made like 500 macaroons to take with us.
Wow.
We said, let's just sample. And everyone who came to us, we were like, we're still doing this. Try this. Please give us your feedback. Give us your feedback. Give us your
It looked
feedback.
like a small burger.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly my thoughts.
Chota burger, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what do you guys think of it? And it was really interesting to see how many people knew it, didn't know it, what their thoughts were. We got a lot of comments like, "Ye to cream biscuit hai," and why is it so expensive? We got all of that. So a lot of the first initial years were just spent in educating people to
Wow.
like what is a macaron. People who travel, who've been to France a lot, they already knew, but the rest of them, we were like, okay. And it was just like word of mouth. One person liked it. They were like, oh, this is beautiful. Something else. And then slowly, slowly, slowly before, and the thing is like when you're working and you're so hard at building something, you don't have the time or the awareness to realize what's happening. Then suddenly one day you look up and you're like, oh, I did this. Yeah.
That was so interesting. Now, I'll do one fun thing with you. Now,
Huh.
we have this let's go natural game, okay? So, there we want to know the most natural flavor of macaron for you, which is the most
Natural,
natural. Yeah, the most
natural meaning?
natural means something which you think is made of those, it's not a artificial taste. You feel like it's something that you
Oh,
feel you
like
can
just a
relate to. Yeah.
oh, just a simple white chocolate and almond.
Okay. That gives you that, the real
The feel, yeah.
flavor of the same. Most organic ingredient of a macaron.
Most organic ingredient. I mean, it's basically almond powder, icing sugar, egg whites. So it's
But these
pretty,
are things that people find at home, like something that we generally acquire in our everyday health
yeah.
routine. Can that be used in making a macaroon? Like everybody is
For
now.
sure, the filling you can. You can play around with the
You can
filling.
have an avocado macaroon also.
Yes, you can do an avocado macaron, avocado and chocolate macaron. Yes.
Now, one is what is your best way to deal with judgment on certain situation on chef is a normal thing for women? Like, is there a myth or a judgment about like, oh, being a chef is very common and easy for women? If a man becomes a chef, it's a tough deal. Do you go through that kind of a
In fact, I don't think that happens professionally. I think professionally, everyone expects men to be in a professional kitchen. I don't
okay?
think that play really happens as much for like, yeah.
It is not like, oh, it is quite like you've worked so hard, but people are like, you're a girl, for you to learn the kitchen stuff is quite natural.
No, I don't think so.
You've never encountered such situations. About beauty with brains, are you questioned on that? You are pretty. So how many people like challenge like, they overlook your beauty or your brain over your beauty. They're like, it's easy, you're cute, you make your way
This
easy.
is this is the benefit of having a super low self confidence. Then you're like, it's only my work. It's nothing about the way I look. Yeah.
Do people buy it? When don't they give you this? That Pooja, you're so cute looking. Like you make your way because you're so pretty cute. So ho jata hai. For us, it's a tough job.
नहीं यार, I've never heard this. I wish
No,
boys would tell me that. No.
I thought that's the most common judgment good-looking girls get. And about fitness, do they ever come to this like you're into this pastry and stuff? What do you? I mean, on your fitness, do they comment in a
I
way?
mean, all the time. Yes.
But what's the relevance that can be drawn on the fitness for that part? Like,
Fitness is all about like fat shaming, weight, still, you
but
know.
what is your thought about it? Because in the health conscious world we are living, how
Hmm.
difficult it is to make confectionery item and dessert a choice for people. Everybody's so sucked up in, we don't want to eat much. You want to go eating meager, come
So it
khate hain.
depends, yeah. So it depends on, your business model. Like we are in the business of indulgence. So we know
Yes,
that indulgence doesn't happen on a day-to-day basis. It happens
yes.
on occasions, on birthdays, on anniversaries, weddings, etc. So we kind of cater to those events and we're quite happy, owning the indulgence space.
But is this the changing, whole trend for health? Like people are going completely vegan. So is that
Yeah.
going to bother the business or
I
the?
mean, it will bother the day to day if someone, used to have a cupcake every day, maybe now they won't. But we are also attuned to the fact that times are changing and habits are changing. So we are also
Yes.
building products that fit really well in a person's day to day life and not. And then we also have the range that is really good for indulgence. So if you want something that's healthy, we'll have that for you. But if you want something indulgent, then we'll have that for you as well.
I think with Indians all the time we're so emotional, we need indulgence. It is
Yeah.
certainly helpful.
Like that's what I was telling someone the other day. I said we like to believe we are healthy and we like to believe we are moving towards, but
Yes.
everyone is eating everything and just, it's just
Find the other way to tweak it and present it. But you go to any pastry shop or cafe, I think the footfall is just increasing. That's a must to do. One more fun game I want to do with you is most cherished. You would suggest someone, or you've seen this trend on different mood swings. What kind of indulgence are very common with people? Yeah, for a happy mood, what kind of flavors or pastry or macarons you think works well?
oh my God, I think my go-to for everything is chocolate. So I don't
Even
know.
for happy mood.
For every mood.
Wow, you're a chocolate person. Generally, I thought people who make it do not want chocolate is the most cliched one.
No, I love it. I love it. I wish, half my life's problems would be solved if I didn't love chocolate so much. But I do. I think it's the best for everything. Of course, change it around for different things, but I think it's so versatile.
for anxiety, what do you think people generally pick most when they feel that like they have this anxious rush up there? What really can calm down?
Therapy. Don't go to food.
No, but food really works. I tell you, half the people get anxious because they're not eaten.
Yeah, I mean,
But if you have to suggest anything from your
yeah, I'm just
plate.
saying that anxiety and anxious, they're very medical terms. I wouldn't want to recommend a food. Yeah, I would just
Okay,
say,
if somebody's feeling emotionally low,
I'm telling you, chocolate, hot chocolate.
chocolate.
Yeah. Warm cup of hot chocolate, some cinnamon is great.
That's cool. That's so much fun. I think you were being honest with that. But
Mm.
going from here, just because we have all our guests coming to us, they have their story. We would like you to share one anecdote with us, which you think you have not shared enough. What is a moment which changed your life? It's called the turning point of life. What could that be?
The turning point in my life.
I'm sure there are many pages that have been the turning point, but one that is most recent and you haven't shared it.
Um, I have shared it, maybe not so much in detail, but I feel like for me, especially in the last 2 years, COVID was a big turning point,
Okay.
and just realizing because you're like ambitious and you're like go, and life is about just getting your goals and you're failing, but you're still on this sort of channel of going towards things. And I feel for me, COVID was a big reality check and a
True.
turning point where it was like it made me stop and pause and really think about the kind of life I want, the kind of relationships I want, what I want from. I started living more with intent, I think. And for me, that's been a great journey, and it reflects in our products, it reflects in what we do, in the kind of company that we want to become. We do everything with a lot of intention, and we're very careful about what the kind of mark we want to leave and the legacy we want to build. And I think that wouldn't have happened if I didn't get that jerk and stop. And I had I was at a place where I could almost lose everything. So it was really
What
coming.
was the way you came out of it? Is there a trick? Because I
I
think we all
cried a
do.
lot.
You
I,
journal?
I cried a lot
Cried.
for 1 month, and then I just told myself enough, bahut ho gaya, rona band karo, and I stopped crying. And I said the thing that really helped me is to just think about what is the next best thing that I can do. So instead of saying that I have to do all of these things and I have to make this happen and this change happen, and it gets overwhelming and it feels like the piece is so big that it feels like a burden on your shoulders. But I just started taking it one day at a time and chipping off one block. So I said, okay, what do I need to do for today? What do I need to
Wow.
do till the next best thing and the next best thing? And I think the minute you keep doing the next best thing, slowly you just at one point you
Yeah.
look back and you've kind of you're like, oh, I managed to do all of it. So I think that not taking that whole burden at any point on your whole shoulders and just looking at it piece by piece, I think for me that really helped.
Yeah, one moment since you were just there at MasterChef, can you share one moment with the
Oh
chefs?
my
How
God.
how you guys together?
I loved I've known Garima for many years. She's
Mm,
a good friend of mine. So it was great to see her and catch up with her again. And obviously, the chemistry between Chef Ranveer and Chef Vikas, actually, with all three of them, firstly, it just felt like they were one big family.
yeah.
And the chemistry that they all three share is just so beautiful.
And they're so funny.
Chef Vikas is hilarious. Like
Yeah.
I just want to say, he was so sweet. He came to me at 7 o'clock in my van, and he's like, "You need to eat." He made sure that I was fed the whole
Really.
day, that I was taken care of. That like I was a bit scared about like because there were a lot of in the script there were a lot of lines, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is going to be tough." So he made sure that I had an in-ear and that I could say everything properly. We all ate lunch together, and it was just one of, I finished the day and I was like, oh my God, guys, I'm gonna miss you so much.
True.
Next day I messaged all of them and said, I just wanna do that. But there's one thing I must say is that it's extremely challenging and it's hard work. You're on your feet for about 12 to 14 hours a
Yeah.
day, what they're doing. And they make it look so easy. I finished that day, I came home and I was like, if I had to wake up tomorrow morning and do this all over again, I was dead. So really, like it was for me, it was like, wow, respect to all three of them.
But do you think if given a chance to wake up in the morning to be something else in your life, you would choose to be who you are today? Or you would want to be some other profession? Or
No,
whoever you.
I chose to
It's a
be
lot.
me. I
You.
chose to be. Yeah.
One last thing before I leave, now that you mentioned it, when you chefs eat together, what is the feeling? Because you cook, yeah. One who makes it, do they really enjoy what they make?
You know, just in general, when chefs eat, it's the most awful thing because they don't like all, like, even when I was in school and like in culinary school and all of that, you'd think that chefs would get together and eat this amazing food. But
True.
chefs, if you've ever seen them cook for themselves, and this is what I was sitting with a bunch of chefs the other day, and everyone was like Maggie or like spaghetti with ketchup or like some bread. Like, no, it's just like you work, it's like you work the whole day, you don't want to come home and work some more. So literally it's like a one pot thing, something that's fast, something that's easy, no time spent. It's usually like instant noodles with some ketchup, or it's like
Even if the taste is not up to your mark, it's okay.
and you're not eating for taste, you're eating for sustenance. You're just like, I just need to eat because I'm hungry.
I love this. I want to one day when I come offline and shoot with you, eat with you someone else's made pastry and macaroon and judge it to the core.
I never judge. It
That's
was so difficult for me on MasterChef. I was like, it was that was the most challenging part.
But that's quite natural for you. You were eating something, you wouldn't judge it with the taste you create with it, the magic you create.
No, I don't. In fact, I like to enjoy things for the way they are and don't like.
And don't you get envious? They have an easier journey than you. They're getting a contest to go up and become famous overnight. Had you had an opportunity to do that?
No, yeah,
Never comes to you. Kash मुझे भी ऐसा platform मिलता.
never.
Never. So I think Pooja, you're actually a woman beyond the judgment. There's no way I can put you there. This is a small token of love we'll send you from India Podcast, a small gift hamper that we always offer to our guests. And before I let you go, can you leave us with a song?
You want me to sing?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, please.
No.
Yeah.
No,
What you do? One line, all my. Even last show, Lara Datta, I told you you'll sing. She's like, you should have told me. I would have prepared. I prepared my face and came. I didn't prepare my voice.
You sing now, I'll clap.
I know. See, I wish chef would do something different. You might have some other passion.
Yeah, I do play the guitar, but it's
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah.
I don't want you to take that much fame. You're
Yeah.
not going to do that. I'm going to take some reels out from your Instagram and plug them in. You sing something, I'll play the guitar on that. Can't happen.
No.
One line. No.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pooja. I'll come back to you when we edit the show and roll it out. But lovely meeting you, and I hope I meet you in person very, very soon.
Yes, please.
And we
Thank
want to do something with, I told Ranveer, we want to do some real exclusive shows, travel
Yeah.
with the chefs in different ways, and figure out somewhere we can connect with everyone through the podcast. So we'll do that with you.
you. Sounds
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Pleasure.
Bye.